Well, welcome to another episode of the Billy Ho Show. And I'm on the water, and I'm on the water with a couple of Stinky Bait boys. And just to explain that, about 10 years ago, Captain Asparagus and I started the Stinky Bait Club, where we invited 9, 10, 11, 12-year-olds, 13 perhaps, to come and we'll teach them how to fish. And the club was called the Stinky Bait Club. But while I'm on the water, when I was about 16, I went down to the Auckland waterfront and got on a ex-Fairmail, which is a Navy boat, called the Colville. And we got on at about 10:30 at night, and the thing would steam out into the night and arrive at Little Barrier at about 2 in the morning. Then the captain would go to bed and we'd all fish till about 5. Then at 5 he'd get up, start the boat up, and we'd go out to what he called Centre Reef. The captain, by the way, was a man called Lester Sowerby. And Lester would go out to Centre Reef, he'd put the pick down, and we all had hand lines. And great big huge sinker about that big and a 120-pound line, and you sort of had the line go through the sinker, so you thread your bait and what have you through the sinker and then lift the sinker, and when it hit the bottom you only had to count to about 10 and bang, you pulled up a snapper. But what you also did was you had a sugar bag tied in front of you. So this is I think it's about 70 foot long, so right around the boat everybody had a spot and their sugar bag tied to the spot. And at the end of the fishing trip, most of us had our sugar bags filled up with snapper. But that was in mid-60s, and the fishing was marvellous, way out wide then, but recreational fishing wasn't so. I mean, people just rowed out in their dinghies and they hand-lined pretty close to shore. So coming out to the 40-metre mark or Anchorite Rock or Little Barrier or even Great Barrier was just wasn't done by recreational fishermen. But I just remember that Colville. It was a great boat. I played poker in the back, and I managed sometimes to win my £5 charter fee back. So it was all just a lot of fun, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So here's a photo of the old Colville steaming along, coming back from Mokahinau's. After it was a fishing charter boat, it became a lighthouse boat. So that's what it did till the end of its life. So there you go, a little bit about history about the Hauraki Golf and me. So what we're going to do now, we've arrived at our spot, and so we're going to try our luck here out off Coromandel. We've got a couple of Stinky Bait boys here. Our captain is Fraser with the grey hat. Hello. And we've got Darius on the back. And these boys came to the Stinky Baits Club, which we and the captain were teaching them all they needed to know about fish. Took 5 years, but we taught them, and Darius was 11 and Fraser was 12 when they came, and here they are, big boys. Haven't got married yet or anything, but we're on
that big, and they squeaked when they spoke.
But we're out here having an enjoyable afternoon. But anyway, what we're going to do is the captain's going to show us how to rig up what we're going to use. We've bought some liveys this morning.
The Jack Mackerel Fish Jack is a really good bait. So what we did is we've whacked some fillets off and just sew them on like that.
And sewing is so important because it just keeps the whole bait looking as natural as possible.
It just really goes to bait presentation.
Yeah, presentation. What's the location?
Well,
you're selling a house, but if you're putting the bait on, it's all presentation. So you're sticking that into the little gutty bit there. So you can show the folks at home the little gutty bit.
That's the little gutty bit.
A little bit of mud and guts.
And then you just rotate that through, and it goes through that last little bit of skin just there.
Yeah.
So, yep. Avoiding, of course, your fingers. Just pull that up tight like so. And you see, you got the hook held out like that. Just do yourself a half hitch around the tail there, like so. And you pull that up tight.
And now it's an extension of the line.
Yeah, and so the fish takes that, swallows it and runs, and as the line comes tight, whack, you got them. That's how you sew on your baits, folks. For kahawai, I use the same thing. You can use a nice big slab of kahawai, but if it's really nice fresh kahawai, what I do is I actually skin the kahawai, so there's not actually any skin on it. It's just bloody meat on one side and the fillet on the other. and yeah, the fish just yavel them.
So we'll cast out somewhere over there, I suggest, Captain,
Rightio.
because that's where we fished when we came in the helicopter in 1989. We came, and he landed on that rock over there, and we cast off the rock this way. So what we're going to do now is cast back in that way and see what happens.
Go, Darius! He's hooked it and it's
nice.
coming in. Nice fish.
Nice. Oh, geez.
Nice fish. Here's our net. There you go. Swimming around this side, mate. If you can. Nice fish. Beautiful coromandel snapper, mate. Well done.
Woohoo! Thank you.
Look at that,
done.
How's that?
Back to back.
And another one. Beautiful. Look at that.
Mr. Jammy. There we are. What have we got here? Nice snap. Whoa! Not bad.
That's what you've been missing.
Yeah.
All right. There you go. We were trying the jigging and nothing happened. So we came in here and got up behind the Coromandel Islands here, drifting out some floating jack mackerel cutbacks. And yeah, picked up a nice snap just then off the rocks. And that's the way of doing it, guys. Very nice. Just a single 5-bar hook. Very nice. There you go.
The second Wheels at Wanaka event is on this coming Easter in 2021, and that's on Saturday and Sunday the 3rd and 4th of April. They're planning a bigger and brighter event with more vehicles and machines working as well as on display. Cars, trucks, tractors, traction engines, scrapers, dozers, graders, the lot. If it's got wheels, it'll be represented at this amazing event. They're having an earth moving only day on Good Friday the 2nd of April, and there's a $10 entry for this. So go to their webpage www.wheelsatwanaka.co.nz for more information. We'll be there filming the event, so we look forward to seeing you there. Well, I'm in this immaculate shed. It's just got so much in it, and everything, everywhere you look is just interest, and more interest. And it all belongs to Ashley and Lane. Welcome to our little show. And Ashley and Lane restore cars. Great big cars with V8s in them, great big cars with enormous fins on the end of it. So when I was a boy, sort of going to college, most of the cars of the time had fins. The Sotos, the New Plymouths and the Cadillacs and the Chevs, they all had a fin of some kind. And the fins were in sort of near the end of the 50s and perhaps the beginning of the 60s, but I'm sure Ashley probably knows more about that than I do. I'm just talking about when I was a kid. So Ashley, just first of all, we'll start in this room and the things that you've collected over the time.
Well, we've collected anything Americana and Kiwiana as well, but we get over to the US for quite a bit and buy anything that's interesting and anything that's original, Brewiana, Petroliana, all that sort of stuff. And we freight a lot of cars, so getting it here has never been an issue really.
Right.
And it's getting harder to find that sort of stuff, so we're pretty happy with what we've got.
There's lots of stuff in New Zealand in farmers' sheds and various other sheds around the place, and I'm sure some of these old guys don't even know what they've got and what it's worth. You know, it's just, oh yeah, that's always been there and it's just sitting in the corner of the shed there sort of collecting dust. But if somebody like yourself turned up and went, oh, you know, wow, got to have that, yeah, sure, take it away.
You've got to be pretty quick now. Once you're onto it, everybody's after it.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
you don't get to find barn finds very much. When you do, you've got to be in.
Fair enough. So all the stuff in the shed is sort of like $5 to sort of $100 sort of, and a bit more
for some stuff.
Yeah.
We like the original stuff. We try to stay away from the replica.
Oh, okay, so who makes the replicas?
About the Chinese.
There's a lot of Chinese stuff around, but and that's fine. But we would rather
like
have
the
old, original
Yeah.
stuff. We spend time to restore it, or if it's neon lights, etc., we'll change it to New Zealand transformers and get it all working. The pinball machines are all out of the US, so they all change
they
over
go?
to New Zealand. They're all restored and working. Everything works.
You haven't got when I was a boy, you haven't got one of the little, it was a box on the wall and had rings around it, and you flicked the ball and went wing, 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 wing.
No, everybody wants a flip
Yeah.
ball. We would love to buy
Like
one, but no, we don't have one.
You can't find one. Oh.
They're pretty expensive.
Well, folks, if you've got one of those sitting in your garage, remember the little flick the ball and went round, 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 and there was lose, win, 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 lose, and sort of 99% of the time it just went pink, pink, lose. But if you won, you got an extra ball in your penny back. Remember that? Yeah, and then flick it again and away you went. The other one they had on the wall was the one where you flicked a penny from one side to the other.
The golf one, yeah.
And you got 99% chance of your penny falling into one of those holes before it got down the bottom. And if it did get down the bottom, they just give you your penny back.
Most guys, most of that stuff in New Zealand snapped up, and people know what it's worth. You don't get them for nothing anymore.
Oh, okay.
Because people relate to that stuff, as you just have, about being on the burger while you're waiting for your burger.
Yeah, yeah.
You play that, and that's what people want.
So does it still? Well, I guess it must exist somewhere.
Oh, they're around.
Yeah.
You just can't buy them.
No, oh well, fair enough.
Yeah, that's fine.
You might have one in your shed. There's my number. Give me a call.
You need to find some wall to put it on.
Fair enough. So what's in this room? What do you enjoy the most? Is there any particular piece that you enjoy the most?
No, all of it, mate.
All of it. Yeah. And I see you've got tables and chairs all over the place here. Do you have a few friends around from time to time?
Social, yeah.
Yeah.
You get a few car groups coming out and having a beer, but a lot of family stuff.
Lots and lots of family stuff.
Oh, okay.
We've got a big family. We've got 5 children, and they've all got children, and this is the perfect venue for everybody can fit in.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So we've had weddings here and bus trips and.
Every Christmas is big.
Okay. Wow. So tell me about your cars. I mean, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's a couple next door, 7, 8.
We've got about 12 of them hanging around at the moment, but what we've got really want to see through now. We've bought and sold a lot of cars over the years, but these ones we will sort of don't really want to sell too much. We've got other things that aren't here on the go as well, but we specialise mainly from 55 to 65 really in that group.
Yep.
That's the stuff we relate to, so that's what we enjoy.
This Cadillac sitting here, it's enormous. How long is it? 20 feet?
19.
19 feet? You can certainly sort of jump in that boot and have a bit of a snore. You probably jump on the back seat and have a bit of a snore as well. But the fins sticking out, just the chrome everywhere, it's just wow. Oh well, so we'll go and have a look at some of your cars.
Sure.
Excellent. What we're going to do now, folks, is he's got a few cars outside, so we'll pop out there, we'll have a look at them and see how flash they are. Ashley, something really special about this Trans Am. You'd like to just explain to my viewers what's so special about this?
Well, the artwork was done by the guy that designed the concept of True Fire. It was Mike Lavelli from Washington in the US. He had a business called Killer Paint, and he's a very famous man. He came out here to do some courses, and I was fortunate to hook up with him and supply the material for him, and while he was here he did several cars, and this was one of them. And he'd done a similar one in the US called Killer TA, and I asked him if he could do that on mine, and we did, so it was great. And he's done, as I say, he did a few, probably half a dozen cars in the country, and then that was it.
So you took the bonnet off and took it to him, or did he come here?
We did the courses in town and
Oh, yeah.
Polytech, and he did it there. Yeah.
So from watching him work, is it difficult?
Oh, he's a very clever man. He makes it look easy, for sure. Yeah. So you've got to have the knack. I mean, you can teach somebody to do it, but he's sort of basically freehand that, start to finish. And,
Wow.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, he returned to the US, and a few months ago he had a stroke and an aneurysm, and then passed away. So it's pretty
Pretty special.
lucky to have.
Absolutely. I'm just looking at the detail in the beak and the eye and the...
Yeah, the closer you look, the more you stare at it, the more you see. That's part of his art.
Yeah.
Good.
So you're very proud of that, that's for sure. Yeah. Even the little bits on the side here, you know, it's EA455. Little flames coming off it.
We've also done the back of it as well, which is the Trans Am on the back is also the flame. So
Wow.
yeah, it's pretty good to have it. Yeah.
So this is the only one in the country, or do you? Yeah, absolutely. There, just in front of us here, we've got is that a Pontiac?
It's a 1960 Pontiac Bonneville flat top.
Let's have a look. Looking at this car, first of all, down here in this, you've got all these little sort of rows of squares. Is that sort of a carry on from something before?
Yeah, each year they changed it around a little bit, but that's the characteristic for a Pontiac Bonneville. The Buick had the scallops in the front guard and they changed that out every year, but still you can recognise them. This car is a 60 Pontiac flat top, or a Vista, because it has the wraparound screen but the low roof, 4-door hardtop. So there's not many of these around, but there's a few in the country now because the Buick and the Oldsmobile and the Chevy all use the same roof.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of the GM stuff use the same glass. And you can tell they all use the same wraparound windscreen.
Yeah, because you see a lot of cars that's got this that exact same, also, and there's plenty of room to put your knees under.
But you can still hit your knee if you try.
Okay, I see these little skulls for the. Is that your idea?
No, they'll go. But yeah, that's just somebody in America thinks.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. Certainly plenty of room in the back, plenty of room in the front. The fire on the floor there and the mat. Can we have a look at the engine?
389 cubic inch Pontiac engine, 4-barrel carburetor, 4-stage automatic. This one's been upgraded with an alternator, but they run a generator, but it's just over 300 horsepower. For the day was pretty good going.
Also.
Having the 4-stage auto, it used to get away pretty good.
When did the Oldsmobile make his own engines right from the kick? Yeah, well, that's interesting.
Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, Chevy all did their own thing. I don't know why, but Hawkeye, big workhorse, they still go good. They
Yeah.
sit on 80 mile an hour all day long.
They've got cruise control? No.
Yeah.
The old boot.
Some do, some don't. They just had so many different specs, you know.
Yeah. Just coming across to the next one, is that the next model down? Or next model?
It's a year down, but the same model. So that's a Pontiac Bonneville also, but that's a 59.
Oh, okay. I just see these have got little, spaced markers, I suppose you could call them, the same as that one.
Before they incorporated that in the moulding on the next year, so people, you just relate to it, it's the Bonneville because of that.
Right.
And the Bonneville has the extra chrome on the fin. In 59 they had several different Pontiacs, Catalinas and things, but the Bonneville was sort of the top of the line for the year.
Bonneville, it says here, the little logo, is that the logo?
That's Pontiac symbol.
Yep. But the outstanding, sort of every little light, got a bit of chrome around it. I'm not quite sure where you fill the thing up with petrol, but some of them had the number plate came down. Oh, okay, your little stick. Of course. And you can certainly sort of open that up and have a bit of a sleep. Absolutely.
Yeah. The Bonneville was the longest rear end out of all the Pontiacs. The Bonneville had the long lights where the Catalina had the small lights, and so it was a pretty good combo.
So as a designer, you're working for Pontiac to design the front of their cars. This is the 60, did you say?
It's 59.
59, 60.
The 59 is still, most Pontiacs you'll find had two grills. They had a split grill front.
Yep.
The 60 was the only one that had the one-piece grill. Then after that they went back to two again.
And over here, we've got the big black caddy. Come and have a look at the caddy, folks. What I've got here is a copy of Talking Trucks. This is a book I wrote a couple of years ago, and it's the history of New Zealand trucking. And it's all from the programs that I did between 2013 and 2016. I'm going to let this go for $25. So it's a special. So if you'd like your copy, there's my phone number, 027 277 0717. Just send me a text or email me, billhohepper@extra.co.nz to get your copy. $25 and the history of New Zealand trucks. Hi, it's Bill Hohepper here. I've had my Mahindra pickup 4x4 now for 6 years. I've taken it to some of the most challenging four-wheel drive treks in the country, and I've been pleasantly surprised just how well it performs. So call Mahindra New Zealand on 0800 282 726 to find a dealer near you, and I can tell you, you won't be disappointed. First of all, I mean the size of this great big bullet, I suppose you'd call it, chrome bullet, one each side, and then you've got a big chrome bumper goes sort of through it and a bit more chrome on the top. That's a lot of chrome.
They're actually called Dagmar, that front bumper piece of Dagmar if you like. 56 was the last of the big Dagmars with the big round bonnet. They started to flatten everything out after that.
Oh, okay.
The 56 has quite an intricate grille in it as well. So it's one of my favourites, the 56.
A column change into automatic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the same 4-speed auto trans for the 365 engine.
That's amazing.
But they're the same thing, they're geared nicely and they'll sit on 80 mile an hour all day long.
And a little fin at the back.
Yep.
A little fin that was going to get bigger.
Yep.
And there's a man on the front here with a little face. Well, I'm just trying to think who else had a little face on the front.
Well, that's again your Pontiac, your Indian thing. Sometimes they had a big Indian chief with a light up bit and all that.
Oh, yeah.
That was a continuer. So the engineering gone into just having the fuel cap is pretty amazing.
Hi, it's Bill Hohepper here. I've had my Mahindra pickup 4x4 now for 6 years. I've taken it to some of the most challenging four-wheel drive treks in the country, and I've been pleasantly surprised just how well it performs. So call Mahindra New Zealand on 0800 282 726 to find a dealer near you, and I can tell you, you won't be disappointed. Welcome to day 4 of our Mahindra 4x4 adventure. We're doing the big river track that starts near Reefton. Head south of Reefton and take the first road left, which is Soldiers Road. Follow this till you get to the end, and that's the start of the big river track. If you're thinking of doing this track, you need to allow 5 hours, 2 hours in, 2 hours out, and an hour to explore. I'm doing this trip backwards, starting at the old gold mine house at the end of the track and heading back to Reefton. Well, we've reached the big river bind, and this big red building here houses all the machinery they used to use in the 1800s. And it takes 2 hours to get out here from Reefton, and the road's, well, it's horrendous really, but you've got to think about the people back in the day who actually built that road to get to this mine. Anyway, everybody's enjoyed themselves getting here. They're enjoying themselves now. There's a bit of camaraderie and everybody's having a cup of tea and a piece of cake, as you do on these things. And now we're going to head back out to the main road and then continue on our way to Ikimatua. Here we have young Liam with the 2 Ralphs on the trip. Big Bad Ralph, who drives the Rescue 1, and Cherokee Ralph, who drives the Jeep. Janeta's making her daily coffee and keeping warm, and now we're all packed up and we're ready to head back. Coming in, it's about 6k from an old building from the 4 times over the river just down the road here, but this road has got really progressively worse. We've been out here a few times, and the last time we were here, this road wasn't too bad. But there's no grader or diggers or anything like that come out here, so this road only gets progressively worse. And it's fallen away in places, there's great big potholes, it's slippery, and it takes us right out to where the point on the flats. And you can see the old building over to the left there. That's nothing in it, it's just a building that was here. We cross this little creek 1, 2, 3, 4 times, and then we climb up into the bush. The road, as you can see, is still slippery, and this is what's commonly known as the flats. Now there's 2 ways to take this little river, and Ralph's calling up saying, is this the way we came? No, the one that we come, out of the mountain and then straight into the creek. Yeah, the next one. Which, do we go left or do we go right? But we've got it all sorted. Yes, we're going the right way, and so Ralph's decided, yep, that's us. We can happily continue on our merry way. All these rivers have got a slight taint in them, and that's because of the tannin that comes out of the trees and flows down the riverway. So a lot of the rivers out here have got this this dark red tinge to them, as you'll see in just a second. And now we climb out of these rivers, and now we're on our way back through the bush. No more rivers to cross, apart from one which is way out at the beginning. I've really enjoyed driving this Mahindra. This is a demonstrator Mahindra. It's the latest model, and what a joy it is to drive. And certainly got plenty of grunt, just like the other one. Now there's something going to happen just up around the corner here that I just want to explain, and that's where this wheel is spinning. See the wheel spinning, and all of a sudden it stops. That's because the automatic Eaton diff lock kicked in, and the same is going to happen to us. We stall for a bit and then shutter it, and then bang, diff locks kick in, and we're away. So that's one of the great aspects of the Mahindra, having that automatic diff lock. We're wending our way through this beautiful beech trees that are famous on the west coast, and as I said before, this track is just really interesting. So what's happening here, you can see another couple of trucks up in front of us, and we seem to have met some people coming the other way. Sometimes on this track you meet vehicles coming the other way, and luckily there's spots to sort of pull people over, but if there's not, somebody's got to back up. So we're a group of 8, these guys are a group of 3, so if anybody's backing up, it'll be those guys. But that's four-wheel driving, and there's no sign out the front that says 24 vehicles are in and none are out, so yeah, that's just four-wheel driving. So what's happening here is one of their team is guiding the trucks through. There's enough room just to pass between the trees and the back of their last truck, and one of their number is actually guiding us through. So his left hand is telling me to go to the left towards the trees. That's good. 2 thumbs up, we go straight, and then a bit more to the left. He can see what's happening, of course, and he's just guiding. Oops, a bit too far to the right, and I don't know what that was, but anyway, looks like we're through. Chickadee boo. Nice moustache. He reckons I've got a great moustache. Good on him. So we carry on, and up in the top, so we've come down and then we come back up, and there's this bit of a wet patch up the top that's full of potholes and water, and as I said, plenty of bush up here. Then we're back into the bush again through the beech trees, and as I said, it's 2 hours out here, so it's a fair old drive. And getting close to the end now, this is Mary Jiggs Hotel, which was built in 1889 and frequented until 1946, so people actually still had a beer out here at the end of the Second World War. Nothing there at the moment, but it's just interesting that people would go out to that pub in their horse and carts, and later their old cars, and yeah, it's just it must have been a pretty good population out here enjoying the mining and what have you. So we're out back at the main road. There's the warning sign that says you're on your own out here. There's no road works, no tractors, no graders, so you do it all at your own risk. So next week, episode 5.